It's actually page 99 on the actual page numbers, okay? 99 right here, or 101 down here, okay? On the PDF, okay. Right at the top. Techniques for problem solving and tackling difficult issues. Below are some useful techniques for solving problems and tackling difficult issues. Thank you. Yes, you just told us that. These generally benefit from strong facilitation, so do lay down clear rules and don't let discussions get out of hand. Don't be afraid to stop the process if necessary. If things get heavy, then bear in mind that conflict resolution requires both skill and experience, and shouldn't be done unprepared. It's much better to stop the meeting and seek help from experienced facilitators. Mapping, alright. Use large writing on flip chart paper where everyone can see it and arrange keywords in groups or out on their own. Connecting arrows, colors, pictures make this a lot more organic and fun than a simple list, and it can allow people to make new connections. The writing could be done by one person or everyone in the group. Don't make me do it, it'll take forever. I can't write neatly without a huge amount of pain, and it's very slow for me to do that. Using questions. Questioning involves asking the individual or group a question or a series of questions to enable them to find their own solutions to the challenges they face. It can be used as an alternative to presenting information and answers, as well as helping a group work their way through a problem and increasing the quality of a discussion. The increased interaction has the added benefit of keeping more people more deeply engaged in the meeting. For example, the meeting that you're facilitating has just come up with lots of ideas for a community festival. Asking a group a series of questions, will help them to narrow down these ideas to a few options to investigate further. Questions could include, which of these options fit with our objectives? How much time and energy are these going to need? What do we have most enthusiasm and energy for? Tips for successfully using questions. Checkmark. Have a clear aim. What are you trying to achieve? Ask questions that reflects... What? Grammar? Hey British people, you came up with this fucking language. You can't even use it right. Ask questions that reflects this. What is with this? What is... Hey. Ask questions. But first of all, it should say ask questions which reflect this. What is this shit? Come on, Brits. Use open questions when you want to open up and explore issues. Use them to draw people out and to let them direct what it is, or what is to be discussed. Open questions are questions that cannot be answered by a simple yes or no answer. They start with words such as who, why, or what happened. For example, who's going to take the minutes? When would you like to end the meeting? Closed questions generally invite a yes, no, or don't know answer. There is a place for closed questions when you want to clarify points, get information quickly, or when you want to deliberately restrict options. For example, would you like to stop for a break now, rather than how much longer do you need? If you don't get a response to a broad question, break it down and ask a series of specific questions. Okay. Sharing how people are feeling. Often we focus on practicalities and don't give ourselves enough time to think about our emotions. This can lead to people feeling unhappy or dissatisfied with a decision afterwards. When deciding an emotive issue, it can be useful to build in an explicit step to find out how people are feeling about the discussion, ideas, and proposals. Hold on, there's something that's bothering me, and I need to fix it. I'm gonna fix it. Is it Alt to crop? Yes, it is. It's Alt to crop. Okay, and then I need to move that down, but like freely. Is it Shift to move freely? No, Shift is... How do I move this freely? Like that. And then Alt to uncrop on the top. Haha! I figured it out. My captions were like slightly off because at the bottom of the web captioner thing now, there's the notice that says that the website's going to shut down on October 31st. So I have to find a replacement by then. But until then, I'm going to be lazy and not do that. We're just going to keep it how it is, but I do want it to be lined up correctly on the overlay, so that's fixed now. Mostly, it's not perfect. Oh my god, that's hot. Why did I pour such hot water? Okay, hold on. I'm not smart. Oh, fuck, I can't even... My ear is covered. I can't get to it. Okay, anyway. Sharing how people are feeling. Often we focus on practicalities and don't give ourselves enough time to think about our emotions. This can lead to people feeling unhappy or dissatisfied with the decision afterwards. When deciding an emotive issue, it can be useful to build in an explicit step to find out how people are feeling about the discussion, ideas, and proposals. The facilitator should ask people to consider how they are feeling, then have a go around with people describing in a couple of words or sentences how they feel, for example, positive, nervous, tired, excited, disappointed, and why they are feeling like this. My gloves solve this issue? No, it's still too hot. It's also possible to ask people to share any thoughts or emotions they have so far kept to themselves. These are usually things that are hard to express, things that are about how people are feeling about others in the meeting, or deep underlying needs and emotions. It can be difficult to create a climate in which people feel safe to express these. Set up a go-round asking people to make statements beginning with, "What this proposal brings up in me is ... What upsets me about this discussion is ... blah blah blah. If I could change one thing in the group, it would be ... blah blah blah." Do not allow anyone to respond to people's statements or start a discussion. Make sure that everyone has a say. It is highly unlikely that everyone is completely happy with a group discussion or meeting. At the end of the round, see if any themes have emerged and if anyone wants their issue discussed. Okay. Spectrum lines. These help to explore the different views on an issue within the group. They are a dynamic way of discussing philosophical rather than practical topics in large groups. Make an imaginary or real line through the room. One end stands for "I agree completely," the other end for "I disagree completely." Outline the issue under debate and formulate it into a statement to agree or disagree with. People should position themselves along the line according to their views. Oh my god, what a pain. And be asked to have a short conversation. Hello, Jane Doe. Welcome to the stream. Be asked to have a short conversation with the person next to them, explaining why they are where they are. Okay, I got it. The next stage is usually to invite people to share their viewpoints and feelings with the group. Encourage people to shift their position along the line if they are influenced by what other people are saying. If well facilitated, spectrum lines can inspire thought, listening, and debate, both verbal and nonverbal. Nonverbal debate. What's a nonverbal debate, y'all? What? Oh boy. To achieve this, it's important to think carefully about how to formulate the questions so that they're neither too shallow nor too complex. Often the debate during a spectrum line needs a strong facilitation so that people don't talk over each other. Good quotation from Fred Hampton there, Jan. Prioritization techniques. These techniques are useful when you have several options and need to choose between them. Show of hands and temperature check are quick and easy methods to gauge group opinions so that you can rapidly drop unpopular ideas. Alright, everyone, get out your thermometers. The other methods allow you to investigate ideas in more detail. Show of hands, obvious but effective. Run through your list of agenda and get a preliminary show of hands on how important each item is to the group. Those options that have less support are good candidates for quickly being scrapped. Remember to check with the people that made a suggestion before scrapping it. They might still want it to be discussed. It's also possible that an idea that's not popular at first glance can become the favorite after closer examination. Temperature check. Another simple visual tool. Ask everyone to stand and imagine a vertical axis with support for an idea at the top and no support for at the bottom. Get them to stick out their hand and raise it along the imaginary axis for support. The higher the hand, the more support, or lower it for opposition. The lower the hand, the more opposition. If all the hands show a high temperature, you know the group likes the editing. Hello? You know the group you know the group likes the idea. If all of them are low down, you know people are feeling cool about it. Brits, please stop saying people feel cool about something when you mean that they don't like it. When I say I'm cool with something, that means I'm cool with it. But when Brits say it, apparently that means they're not cool with it. Anyway, I hate this one. I hate this one. This one is very, very silly. And seems I like, oh my god. Am I wrong? Am I being a reactionary? Okay. Next, stickers and dots. You can achieve a similar effect to the temperature check by giving everyone a number of stickers or dots. 1 to 6 usually works. It seems fine to me. It just... I don't know how to explain why it feels weird to me. I don't know how... It just does. That's the problem. I don't know what to say about it. It's like... But I don't understand how you can get a quick read. How does it only take you 5 seconds to get a read on the room that way? I'm so confused. People have different heights. People have different abilities to, like, put their hands in certain positions. I just don't... It's abstracted. It's the autism. I can't help it. What am I supposed to do? This doesn't work for me is all I'm saying, okay? It wouldn't work for me. Gosh. Do something else with me. Okay, anyway. What's this one? Okay, ask people to stick their stickers or make their dots by the items that they consider to be most important for the group to deal with. If you give multiple dots or stickers, people have the choice of spending them all on one item that they feel is really important or urgent, or spreading them across a number of options. I actually like this one a lot. Okay, pros and cons. Got several ideas and need to decide which one to go for, question mark. Oh, but you don't like the stickers? List the benefits feels very elementary school to me. Too bad, they all feel like that. The temperature one feels way more elementary school than the stickers one, I'm not gonna lie. I actually really like the stickers one. Okay, let's see here. Get several ideas and need to decide which one to go for. List the benefits and drawbacks of each one in a table. Yo, ATS, thank you for giving the sub to Jane. Oh yeah, it's September, by the way, apparently. Whatever that means. What does that mean? What does that mean? Are subs less expensive now or something? Is it like 5% off? Thank you for the shout out for Jane, by the way. I always forget to do that for people. What's wrong with me? I don't know. No DOMs. God damn it. What am I gonna do? I can't sub all month. It's $1 off from subs. Alright, everybody. $1 off. That's only $4 a month now, y'all. $4. Okay, let's see here. So what are we doing? Okay. List the benefits and drawbacks of each idea in a table or map and compare the results. This can be done as a full group or by asking pairs or small groups to work on the pros and cons of one option and report back to the group. Be aware what is a pro for one person might be a con for another. In this case, you could write it down in both columns. Does it affect the total split? Good question. Let me check. I'll check right now. Let me just go open my thing right now and I'll tell you what it does. Streamer portion is unaffected, so I still get, what is it, like $2.55. I know they slightly increased the share. Let's see here. Earnings. Let's see here. I've gotten $2.52 from that. I overestimated it. My bad. Actually, hold on. That might not be true. Because it looks like I got $2.36 from a Prime sub. But I also have the sub that it was just gifted, but that one's not in there yet. That's interesting. It's not listed. Or maybe I need to... No, it's literally not listed yet. Interesting. I also have 16 cents of ad revenue. Thanks. It's representation. It just hasn't updated yet. It probably takes like a couple of minutes or something. I don't know. Maybe it takes more than that. I don't know. Anyway, maybe it only checks every hour. I don't know how it works. Anyway, so what are we doing? Okay, so be aware that what is a pro for one person might be a con for another. In this case, you could write it down in both columns. Yeah, like for me, I need captions on anything if I'm going to watch it, you know? But for some people, the captions like get in the way and are distracting. So we have competing access needs, you know? Personally speaking, I'm gonna have to say that I think that the captions should be on, and that if you can only have one screen, and that's the situation, the captions should be on. Fuck you. But hey, I'm biased. Subs overdubs. That is the number one reason for sure why I almost always watch anime subbed. Free subtitles, they're right there. What happens if you try to watch dubs is if you want the captions, one, they either don't exist, or the dub's caption is actually the sub. So it's not the same as what they're saying in the dub, because the script is different. That's what it does on some streaming sites. It'll literally be like, you can put the sub on and the dub audio at the same time, and it's like they're not the same script, so it's so annoying. I notice that sometimes on YouTube, people will have a video essay, right? So they have the whole script written out, you know, when they're making the video. So they just use that script. They just make that into captions. Okay, fairly simple, except sometimes they say something slightly different in the video than what it actually says in the script, and then they still have what it says in the script. You seem like the type of person who actually prefers the manga. Called out. I know. Yeah. My problem is that Yeah, I don't know, like I just can't do I'm not very good at watching things. It's just difficult for me, or listening to things. Like, I can't do podcasts at all. There's like, unless there's a transcript, and if there's a transcript, I just read the transcript while I listen to my own music instead of listening to the podcast. But I don't actually do that because I don't care. I don't understand. It baffles me how people can actually listen to podcasts. That's so wild to me that that's a thing people can just do. Like, all the time with no problem whatsoever. I don't get it. Okay, anyway. Okay, let's see here. Facilitating prioritization tools. A word of warning. Interesting, Jane. Okay. That's a mood, yeah, that's true. Okay, anyway, it's easy to deviate from your process and get bogged down in endless discussion. What starts as an attempt to briefly list the pros and cons of each option can easily be diverted into a full-scale hour-long discussion on just the first option. Be wary of this and stick to your chosen process. Only if the process itself is clearly not working should you abandon it and go for another. Wait, you mean Monster like the drink? Oh dear lord. You know that shit's gonna trans your gender, right? Wait. Stop fulfilling all the stereotypes, Jane. Prioritization, by definition, involves choosing some ideas over others. This means that throughout your prioritization exercise, you'll be discarding ideas. There are two possible pitfalls that you can easily avoid. Hold on, Jane. Do you like Neon Genesis Evangelion? Okay, what are our pitfalls? The first is throwing away an idea too early, deciding later that you were too hasty, but not having written it down anywhere. Okay, so always note down ideas and keep hold of the notes until the decision is finally made. If new ideas arise, put them in the parking space. Jesus. Oh my god. Secondly, people are usually more attached to the ideas that they were thought of. You know you hate Eva. Sometimes I usually watch the sub, but sometimes I also watch the dub. I'm a switch like that. It can help to remind the group regularly that you're looking for ideas that are best for the group as a whole. You can also ask permission to discard ideas and thank people for being willing to put aside their personal preferences. You can also add another column called implications/interesting, where you can write down any implications, whether good or bad, or any interesting point. You can extend the process by putting a score next to each plus, minus, interest. Oh, I see. What? Huh? Plus M dash minus M dash interesting point. I'm so confused. This is... Then add up the columns. M dash. If the plus column scores highest, the option is good. Why is this an M dash? Why are these... What is it? It's like they're trying to say that plus means minus. Wars, peace, freedom is slavery. What is this? Each plus, minus. Interesting point. What is this? Why would you do this? This doesn't make any sense. Editing, hello? Okay, then add up the columns. If the plus column scores highest, the option is good. If the minus column scores highly, look for a different option. This is not how you do this. This just... You should say each plus... I'm so confused. They wrote this so badly. You can extend the process by putting a score next to... Wait a minute. Corpo team building manual. No, I'm not. It's not like that. This is from Seeds for Change, which is some UK thing. What do? They do a lot of things. About Us. What do? They wrote this. They're like co-op type people. They're co-op people. Got your CJ here. And anyway, they do co-op stuff, and they work with like various protest movements and shit. That's what they do. They're just like kind of vaguely lefty types. Okay, anyway. Just sub to or just unsubs to find better political memes. Oh my god. Yeah, it's really funny how most people on that subreddit are just like super right wing, and they always just unsubbed from something because somebody said anything even vaguely left-ish or like in support of trans people at all or anything like that, or that like racism is bad. I just unsubbed from the anime memes subreddit because they called me a racist for saying racist things. How dare they? The anime memes subreddit is not to be confused with the anime memes subreddit or the good anime memes subreddit, which is the explicitly transphobic anime memes subreddit. The one you want is the anime memes subreddit, just R anime memes, okay? Not animemes or good animemes, but anime memes, okay? That's the one that isn't transphobic. The newest woke mindverse, and so to be fucking Starfield. There are problems with Starfield, but that's not one of them. That is not one of them. The pronouns. Oh my god. Okay, I have a question. I'm gonna write something out in chat, okay? Do French people actually use this phrase now? Is this a real thing that they actually legitimately talk about now? Le wokisme? Okay, do they actually, is this a real thing? I can't tell if it's a joke or not. Oh wait, okay, let's see here. So anyway, you're putting a score next to all the fucking points, okay, and then add them up, and if the plus column scores highest, the option is good. If the minus column scores highly, look for a different option. Ask a token French streamer sometimes. Like, okay, so I was watching a video yesterday that was a linguistics iceberg explained, a 2-hour-long video. I didn't actually, surprisingly, I did not learn too much in that video. I was reminded of a shit ton of things that I already knew because I took a linguistics course in college. And I'm a linguistics enthusiast in general, so I already know most of the shit. But that phrase, le wokisme, came up, and I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not. Like he was talking about, it was one of the last things in the video, I think. It was talking about the idea that English is a pidgin, P-I-D-G-I-N, by the way. Which there are two versions of that. One is that there's so many goddamn French words in the English language that it's actually more like, modern English is more like a pidgin between Middle English, or like Old English rather, I guess, and French, older French, right? That then has evolved into its own thing now. You could say it's an English-French Creole, maybe. Right? I don't, but that's not where this came from. The wokisme thing came from the second version of the English Pidgin theory, which is just English as a language that everybody, like, that, like, it's like the number one, you know, language that people learn as, like, their second language, you know what I mean? In the world. So, like, there's, like, almost 2 billion people who speak English. It's like the default language of a bajillion different things, like academia and business and shit like that, right? So anyway, the point is that, like, lots and lots of languages take up English loanwords and shit, whether they want to or not, and they use le wokisme as an example in French, and I'm like, is that real? Please tell me they don't actually say that. For once, I agree with the French Academy on this issue. Please stop saying le wokisme. Stop it. For once, I'm a prescriptivist on this one issue. Okay, not really, but I'm gonna put it into Google Translate. That's not really gonna help, but le wokisme. Okay, it literally just translates it to wokeism. I hate this. Look up details. Can you prove that this is a real thing that people actually use? Google? Can you search it? Oh my god, it's real. I hate this. I hate this. Not only is it real, but people in France have been using this phrase for, like, multiple years. It's obviously very, very new, but, like, this is a thing now in France. Time to ask Google Bard. Yeah, according to, like, a bajillion different search results, wokisme is even in the French Wiktionary. 2021, it says. 2021, okay? It's when people started using it, okay? Hold on. Let's see if I remember how to pronounce French. Étymologie. I don't want to know how to say 2021 in French. Sorry. Le terme est apparu dans la littérature réactionnaire francophone à partir de la racine rock dans son péjoratif avec I can't do this. Terminaison. Okay, it has the suffix isma. Okay. Affront. How do you say that? Affront or affine? I would say affront, but maybe I'm wrong. What is this? Okay, quotation marks. Souligner ce que serait son caractère idéologique, extrémiste et dangerous. Okay, fine. Blah 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 blah. I hate this. This language is so cursed. Bard spat out a whole ass webpage about it. Oh my god. Initialement, le terme anglais book provenant de l'anglais vernaculaire afro-américain est utilisé par les mouvements antiraciste. How do I say it? Antiraciste. Antiraciste? Or is this just antiraciste? It's plural, so do I have to... And then you have to say Black Lives Matter. And then you go back to the French accent. Et repris péjorativement par le néoconservateur état humain puis français. I hate this. I hate this. Je ne parle pas français, okay? I hate this. French people, stop it. I like how it immediately just starts off the bat like, this is something that is used specifically by reactionaries. Reactionary French speakers. Thanks. Yeah, no shit. Le wokisme. God. Reactionary French speakers. Sounds like a redundancy to me. Okay. Urgent/important grid. Oh, there's a grid now. We have a grid. We have a political compass now. A classic time management tool that can be applied to group prioritization! Exclamation mark. You can use this tool on paper or as a spectrum line. The group ranks ideas according to their urgency and importance. Please update your spelling. The French Academy won't let them. They won't let them. 100 plus years ago. It's even more than that. Yeah, it's like, that's the funny thing. If you want to speak Old French, it's really easy, because if you just look at Old French and you read it, it's pronounced the way that it's written, which is the same way that it's written now, except that now it's pronounced totally differently. But back yeah, exactly. It's like those spellings that French has now are really old, because the French Academy refuses to change them or allow people to change them to be like actually phonetic again, like they used to be. It just keeps getting worse. Like, English is pretty bad on that front too, but we don't have like a central English Academy trying to say that literally, that's like extremely powerful, trying to say that every English speaker should talk a certain way and spell things a certain way. We have like a bajillion different like dictionaries and shit, but we have like different spelling standards between different countries and shit, right? But in France, it's just, yeah, exactly. What's up with that? How haven't they? Yo, French people, get on this shit. Get rid of the Academy. Oh my gosh. Aren't they all just like monarchists and fascists on there anyway? Get rid of them. We don't need them. We don't need this shit. I will respect French as a language. Okay, no, I won't. I will slightly disrespect French as a language less. Slightly less. I will disrespect French as a language slightly less. Slightly. If you get rid of the Academy. Du wokisme. But yeah, I'm sure the Academy hates le wokisme. Temperature check on French. My hand is on the floor. Okay, urgent such important grid. Right, okay, so this is the thing. The group ranks ideas according to their urgency and importance. This is the priority area. If something's urgent and important, you focus on these things first, I guess. Okay. Ranking. This technique works well in combination with splitting into small groups. Write each option on a card or post-it note, and give each group a full set of cards or post-its. Set a time limit and ask the groups to rank the options. It helps to set out clear criteria. You've got 15 minutes. We're looking for options that need to be done more urgently, are most important yet realistic with our budget, and we've only got a week to make it happen. Diamond ranking. This is a variation of the general card sorting tool. The group takes its 9 top ideas and sorts them into a diamond shape. See below. Oh boy. This is a pain. Most support, next best ideas, other possibilities, little support, and weakest idea. Okay. Activities for re-energizing. There's a word for that. For urgent, non-urgent, important, blah, blah, blah. It's like work efficiency shit. I just... Activities for re-energizing. Here we go. This is pain time. If you were thinking things sounded like elementary school shit before, it's gonna get way worse. Here we go. When people stop concentrating or become irritable in a meeting, it sometimes just means that they have been sitting and listening for too long. Have them take a nap. Simple things like a stretch, a game, or 2 minutes of chatting to the next person can re-energize people. Games can also change the atmosphere in other ways, from lifting the spirits in the group to creating a quieter, more contemplative mood. Have everyone play Monopoly. Be sensitive to the group and individual members. The idea is to help people feel better rather than embarrassed or isolated. Don't coerce people into playing games, but respect their limits and boundaries. If people don't feel like playing, they could get themselves a cup of tea or go to the toilet. Also remember mobility issues. Oh, now we're finally remembering mobility issues. Finally remembering this, apparently. We've included a couple of games so you can see the kind of energizers. Vicious over Monopoly one. So the thing about Monopoly, I mean, everyone here probably knows this, right? Monopoly is a game that was specifically made to be annoying as fuck, and to make the rules are heavily biased towards the banker. Okay, if you play Monopoly correctly as the banker, you will win practically every single time. Right? The game was made as a political statement. Okay, so when people people who go on and on and on for a really long time in a game of Monopoly are not playing it right. You should lose very quickly to the banker. It shouldn't be that hard. If the banker knows what they're doing. This is why nobody plays Monopoly with me. The rules are there for a reason. Anyway. We've included a couple of games that you can see the kind of energizers that are commonly used. Okay. For more ideas for games and energizers, have a look at our briefing, facilitation tools for meetings and workshops, available from our website. Okay, not game. Take about 10 minutes. Okay, it takes about 10 minutes. Good for 10 to 20 people. Stand in a circle and close your eyes. I guess he'll play the banker next time. Look up the strategies. Look it up. Make sure you remember all the rules. There's a lot of rules in Monopoly. Remember them. Remember all the strategies for how you can fuck people over when you're the banker, blah, 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 blah. And make sure that the people you're playing with actually follow the rules, because a lot of people don't follow the rules. Yeah, chat integrated Monopoly stream. Oh no. all right. As long as I'm the banker, I'm the streamer, so I get to choose. Oh boy. Stand in a circle and close your eyes. Walk towards the center of the circle with outstretched hands. I would die. I would just fall over, y'all. This isn't gonna work. Unravel the knot. Okay, or sorry. Find another hand for each of yours, then open your eyes. Unravel the knot without opening hands. Wait, does outstretched hands mean this way or this way? Because if it's this way, you're probably just gonna end up grabbing hands with people next to you. But if it's this way, it could be anything. Oh my god. Involves getting physically close to others, stretching, laughing, and problem solving. Okay, so let me show you how to unravel a knot real quick. For those who don't know how to do this. Okay, you know how your earbuds always get tangled up and shit? I'm gonna just try and tangle up my earbuds real quick. I don't know how to... Maybe this will be tangled. I don't know how to get them to tangle in the first place. Okay. Okay. It's kind of tangled. So this is what you do. You grab the two ends of it and you just shake. Okay? Shake it and pull lightly. Okay? On the two ends of the tangle. And what happens is the knot will be basically revealed. Okay? So now we have this little mess. And we can see that, okay, it's not fully, there's more that can be done. There we go. There we go. You see this? There's only one little knot. That's all it is, right? It looked like a big mess, but after you shook it a bunch, that random motion eventually undid it. Because you're biasing, you're by pulling on the two ends of it, you're biasing the random motion slightly towards undoing the knot, or like undoing the tangle, so that you'll find the knot and then undo the knot easily, since it's only one little knot or whatever. That's how you do it. Statistics. This is math, y'all. Okay, anyway. Thank you for the hurricane season. Yeah. Oh yeah, I should look. How are we doing on hurricanes? Oh god, we just... We didn't get very much rain from Idalia here. It went a little far south. We've got Tropical Storm Gert. We've got Tropical Depression, formerly Tropical Storm Katia. And we've got a big red eggplant-shaped thing. Thanks for coming to my earbud tech talk, yeah. 90% chance formation. Oh my god, can it go away? Look at it, it's too close. It's too close to land. Please go away. And then we have this yellow thing, 30% 7-day chance. Oh my god. Anyway, that's the state of the Atlantic right now. Welcome to peak hurricane season. I like how every single year you always get people like, whoa, hurricane season was so quiet so far, and then you get to September or late August into September and it kicks up as usual, like it does literally almost every single year for like all of recorded history, and people are like, wow, what the hell happened? Why is it so active now suddenly? It does this every fucking year. This is how it works. There's a season for hurricanes. It happens at a certain time of year more often than other times. That's how it works. Oh my fucking god. They're not sending their best. It is true that often those Cape Verde hurricanes don't actually reach land. They just go up into the middle of the Atlantic and don't hit anything often. Make hurricane season great again. No. Like back in what was the what's the record season so far? I experienced it. I got hit by literally 7 tropical cyclones that season. What was it? 2019? Or what year was it? Hold on. No, it had to have been 2019, right? That went into... It was 2019, maybe? No? No, it wasn't. It was 2020 then. 2019, we did have a... No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. What am I thinking of 2018? It's not 2018 though. It's 2020 is the answer. Yeah, 2020. Sorry, I can't think. Okay, 2020. 31 tropical or subtropical cyclones, with all but one of them becoming a named storm that year. You like typhoon season, so I put some more typhoons. Oh my god. Right, this was it, y'all. For those of you who are 2 years old and don't remember this, this was one hurricane season. One of them. Now, as everyone knows, I live in Norte Carolina. Okay. Do you see just how many hurricane or other tropical cyclone paths at least hit North Carolina in some way, brush past it to impact North Carolina, or go right over us or through us or whatever? A lot of them is the answer. A lot of them. But not as bad as over in the Gulf of Mexico. They got fucked up. That was bad. This was the strongest one. Hurricane Iota. Yeah, they had to go into the Greek letters. Once again, for the 2-year-olds who don't remember this, for happening 3 years ago. That one. It was only a Category 4. Amazingly, that was the strongest one that year, even though it was the most active season on record. They still didn't have a Category 5. Amazing. Lucky, honestly. Well, still unlucky. Very unlucky. And yet they missed Florida. They haven't missed Florida this year. Not this year. God. You know what was fucking wild about Idalia, though? Was the storm surge. Even, like... Okay, so it went up the west coast of Florida, right? But, like, the storm surge... Okay, so the National Hurricane Center had forecasted, like, somewhere between 12 to 15 feet of storm surge in the peak area. And it did actually reach that. But what was also wild was that they got, like, 5... Fucking, Jane, I have a question. What? They got like 5 or more feet of storm surge in like Tampa Bay, and like it didn't even go there. It was like just like off to the side. Like it was a wild storm. Anyway, Jane, I have a question. This handbook is about how to make consensus decision, how to do consensus decision making. It's about how to like do things in an organization, how to do a certain thing. Why would it? This isn't political theory, but also this is by Brits. Yeah, what are they gonna do? You're right, ATS. You're totally right. This isn't really political theory at all. It's just like how to run an organization or how to run meetings when you want consensus. That's all it is. It's like it's focused on activists. This is why I don't listen to Brits. But like, okay, I know that a lot of anarchists don't care about consensus decision making, but I'm a big fan of it, so it's like anyway, they're gonna teach us all these fucking games and shit. Who am I? It takes 15 minutes, good for 5 to 10 people. Ask everyone to think of someone they admire, who they could answer questions about. They should be known to most of the group. Keep it a secret. The group asks one person at a time questions about the person they admire until they guess it. The group gets 3 goes to guess the identity. If they don't get it in 3 attempts, that person wins. Oh my god. Okay, evaluation meetings. Finally. Evaluation allows us to learn from our experiences. It should be a regular part of our meetings and decision-making processes, as it gives us a chance for honest feedback on the process and each other's behavior, allowing us to improve in the future. A lot of anarchists do care about consensus, and then there's the Sterner camp. Everyone who participated in a meeting should be encouraged to take part in its evaluation. Bear in mind that there will be differences of opinion, and that it is not necessary for the group to come to agreement on the matter. Y'all, I found a Sterner pit crew. Hold on. I gotta find it. I made one. I gotta show you. Where did I put it? I'll find it eventually, maybe. Where is it? Where's the Max Sterner pit crew? Should I just link to the pit crew? That's probably easier to find. Hold on. I wanted to find the image I made, though. I can't search. I cannot fucking type today. Oh my god. But like, where the fuck is my Max Sterner pit crew? Where would I have put that? Miscellaneous. Where is that? No, it's not in there. Anime. I don't think it's related to anime. Historical shit. No, it's not in there. I have too many folders. Where the hell would I have put that? Maybe it's in my downloads. Ew. I don't want to have to figure out which. Oh my god. I have so many pit crews. Fuck. Oh, I found it. There. I made this. No, you mean like, you fail to see how this process actually leads to consensus or consensus-based direct action. This seems like how you get everyone to be like, wow, you're fucking treating us like kids. Okay, so, Jane, have you been here for like the previous 2 streams on this book? Like, you came in at the most annoying part of the book, I agree. Like, if you just came in... Anyway, that's the picture that I made. Here, I found it. Here's the Stoner Pit Crew. I'm so sorry. So first, okay, so this, let me go back and like show Jane the process, okay, that this is all detailing on, okay? We were on page 108. Okay, we're gonna find they had a little diagram, a short diagram of the whole process that they're mainly going through. Okay, this is a short. Okay, where's the shorter one? That's the longer one. Where's the shorter? Blah 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 blah. They have various steps. Okay, here is the process. Step 1: introduce and clarify the issues to be decided. Share relevant information and ask what the key figure out what the key questions are. Okay. Step 2: explore the issue and look for ideas. Gather initial thoughts and reactions. What are the issues and people's concerns? Collect ideas for solving the problem. Write them down. Have a broad-ranging discussion and debate the ideas. What are the pros and cons? Start thinking about solutions to people's concerns. Eliminate some ideas and shortlist others. Then look for emerging proposals. Look for a proposal that weaves together the best elements of the ideas discussed. Look for solutions that address people's key concerns. Step 4: discuss, clarify, and amend your proposal. I see what you mean. This is fine, actually. Yeah. You just, what you came in on is the facilitation part, like how to facilitate meetings section of the book, which does have a lot of the annoying shit in it, like you said. Or like, why you're treating us like kids shit. Yeah, it does have that kind of shit where I'm like, I hate this. This would not work for me. In that particular section of the book. Yeah, okay, look for amendments, blah, 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 blah. Okay, test for agreement. Make sure that nobody's blocking the proposal. Make sure there's not too many stand-asides or reservations. And then if there's no blocks, not too many stand-asides or reservations, and then everyone else actively agrees with the proposal, then you have a decision. Otherwise, go back to step 3 and look for a new proposal. Okay, anyway. Yeah, that's the context of all of this. So anyway, let's talk about the evaluation, or evaluating meetings, okay? Alright, let's see here. Evaluation allows us to learn from our experiences. It should be a regular part of our meetings and decision-making processes, as it gives us the chance for honest feedback on the process and each other's behavior, allowing us to improve in the future. Everyone who participated in a meeting should be encouraged to take part in its evaluation. Bear in mind that there will be differences of opinion, and that it is not necessary for the group to come to agreement on the matter. It is important to point out what was successful as well as what could have gone better. Begin with positive evaluations wherever possible. The structure of the evaluation should be planned carefully. How will you draw out what type of information? Keep evaluations of the process and of the content of the meeting separate. Below are some possibilities. Have a round where everyone sums up their feelings, or ask everyone to write down comments on a large piece of paper. Ask everyone to call out 2 or 3 high and low points of the meeting. Draw up an evaluation questionnaire and distribute it amongst the participants for filling in. Ask, what are you taking away from this meeting? This rapid review can help people notice what they have achieved. At the beginning, ask people to write their hopes and fears for the meeting on post-it notes and stick them on the wall. At the end, ask them to take down any hopes that have been fulfilled and fears that have been dealt with or proved unfounded. List the expectations that were gathered at the beginning of the meeting. To what extent were they satisfied or changed as an event progressed? Do the same with goals. So let me explain. What you're talking about right there is either a stand-aside or a reservation, not a block. Blocks are extremely important, but also should be rare. Blocks are what you use when, like, if this proposal is gonna like split the group up and make a bunch of people leave, then you use a block. That's when you block a proposal, right? If the goal is to reach a decision by consensus, you cannot have that if a bunch of people are just going to leave the group forever if you like implement X proposal, right? So that's what blocks are for. It's like and something that you absolutely cannot have in the group. Okay. So that immediately, if you have any blocks, you immediately need to go back and say, okay, so how do we make it so that doesn't happen, right? You can't have any blocks. That's like the number one thing. But blocks should be rare because you've already talked about the whole thing, so it should not be very very easy to get any blocks to happen because you've already all talked about everything. Anyway, so stand-asides are like I myself cannot or will not or don't want to, for some reason or other, participate in implementing this decision, but I won't stop everyone else. Okay? So it just means that you won't participate in implementing the decision. It's just something. So if there's only a couple people who are like that in the whole group, then that's fine. But if there's like 10 people in the group and your group has 20 people, then that's a major issue, right? And then there's closer to what you said, which is a reservation, which is like, I don't like this, or there's something about this that I don't like, but the group can go along with it. Just please, and then we note down, like you said, we register my disagreement, right? Like, this is what the group wants, and I'm fine with them doing this. I just have some reservations about it. That's yeah. So if there's not too much of that either, like if there's a bunch of people that have major reservations about it, then you need to try and amend the proposal to fix that. If it's like one person, then it's like, well, if it's not a very big reservation, then it's like, okay, whatever, right? And then after all that, you make sure that everybody, as long as there's no blocks, you make sure that everybody gives the go-ahead for the proposal to be implemented, like actively, like everyone else, I guess. With how foundational Stirner is to queer theory. Oh boy. All right, let me click on your picker that you made, your Stirner picker. Let's see here. Okay, interesting. Okay, I have made so many pickers in the last, I don't know why, I just like doing it. I don't even use them for anything. Okay, let's see here. All right, where were we? Okay, list the expectations that were gathered at the beginning of the meeting. To what extent were they satisfied or changed as the event progressed? Do the same with goals. So, use a graph on a large piece of paper representing the entire meeting. Each participant, using a different colored pen, crayon, or chalk, draws a line from one end to the other, drawing it above or below a central line, depending on how much they enjoyed or gained from the session. Chapter 7, Troubleshooting Your Meetings. Like any method of decision making. Oh, sorry, we have to recreate the stock photo or illustration. I guess they probably illustrated it themselves, maybe. Like any method of decision making, consensus isn't always easy to get right. However, most of the sticking points stem from lack of experience or because the conditions for consensus aren't being met, rather than there being a problem with consensus itself. It takes time to unlearn the patterns of behavior we have been brought up to accept as the norm. Some of these problems, like unaddressed conflict or unhealthy power dynamics, may need long-term action to sort out. Chapter 8, Bridging the Gap, provides some pointers on how to do this. However, there are also things you can do in meetings as a facilitator or a participant which can make it easier to deal with issues that arise. For example, imagine that a small number of people do all the talking in your meeting. If you want to change this situation, you can start with looking at how power and responsibilities are shared out in the group as a whole. But if you notice this happening in a particular meeting, you'll probably want to have some tactics up your sleeve to help others contribute in the short term as well. This chapter helps you pick the right tactics to deal with issues as they arise. Okay. We have a small box. Facilitating problems. Step 1. Footprint. Left footprint. That's correct. You do start on the left foot. That is correct. That phrase, starting out on the right foot, always bothered me majorly because you're supposed to start on the left foot. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe not. Make sure we start out on the right foot. Right, the correct foot, you mean. The correct foot, which is the left one, not the right one. We start on the left foot. Why do we start on the left foot? Because I said so. No, because... No. Traditionally, we start on the left foot when marching. That's what I'm talking about. You put your right foot in, you take your right foot out. No, we're not doing that. No hokey pokey today. Anyway, so they are correctly starting with the left foot. Actively listen for the underlying issue behind the problem. Step 2, right foot. They missed a dot for the foot of my cane with my right foot. Okay. There should be a dot to the left. I'm just saying. Right foot. Choose an appropriate facilitation technique to deal with the underlying issue. Oh no. Oh my god. Step 3, left foot again. Correct. The underlying issue is dealt with and the problem is solved. Okay. I have a question. Are there how widespread is the left foot first marching thing? Is that like an American thing or like a Western European thing or is it really widespread or is it just Americans where we all start out on the left foot when marching, like almost all the time? That's usually the first foot you're supposed to start on. Let me check. I'm just gonna look it up. You're talking about band camp. My experience with marching is in fact in a marching band, yes. However, marching in general, even in a military context in the US, also usually starts in the left foot, I believe, with the left foot. I'm pretty sure. Let me check. Yes, it is the left foot, according to military.com. There's also the westpoint.edu foot marching handbook. Anyway, you start with the left foot in America, and I'm wondering if that's just an American thing, or if it's also a bunch of other countries as well, but how wide-ranging is it? There's gotta be somewhere on Earth where they start on the right foot, right? Surely? Is there a reason why it's always the left foot here? Exciting West Point. No. I'm pretty sure that westpoint.edu is a reliable source on how the US military, which foot the US military starts with when marching. I'm just saying. It's basically universal with exceptions in the Middle East. What the hell? Why is it so universal? Is it just because of Western European military influence, or is it descends from, yeah, I mean, yeah, hi, I'm the drummer, by the way. I was lead snare in my senior year. That was me, I was drumline. That was me, doing the one doing the drum beat. That, over and over again. Anyway. I was the little drummer girl. Dude, Sites was pointing. Yeah, I did. Where else would I get reliable information about which foot the military starts marching on in the United States of America? Don't do this to me. Am I problematic? Okay. It was just one of the results when I searched. I didn't even click on it. It just came up. Oh my god. Anyway, what are we doing? Okay. Even if you were just looking for a short-term solution in a meeting, it is important to get to the bottom of the underlying issue. Probably the most important thing to do as a group is to take the time to reflect on your concerns. Wow. Amazing. It's just as a horseback riding thing for the right foot. Okay, wow. They're very interesting. Thank you. Your CIA agent will remember this. Oh boy. Probably the most important thing to do as a group is to take the time to reflect on how your consensus process is going, give each other feedback, and constantly look for ways to improve. My CIA agent. Oh, hi, ATS. I'm kidding. ATS, has anyone actually accused you of that before? Why does this internet leftists loving to do that to people? I bet you're a Fed. When you tell them like not to be racist or something, I'm just like, what are you, a Fed? What? Oh my god. Develop your ability to spot problems and possible reasons behind them. Use your observations as a guide to find ways to deal with them. There are a handful of really common problems. You finally defined a leftist, oh dear lord. But there are many possible issues underlying them. The approach you take will need to depend on the cause of the problem. But don't just ask what's happening, also ask why is it happening. The more trust and understanding there is in a group, the easier it will become to overcome such problems. Facilitation can help by supplying the tools to avoid problems in the first place and to deal with them creatively if they do occur. Let's try thinking creatively. Oh my god. Nice, ATS. Below, we've compiled ideas for dealing with the most common issues that crop up in consensus-based meetings. If a socialist, anarchist, or Marxist wants everyone to have housing, food, medicine, and education, a leftist is a reactionary who just wants free healthcare. I feel like... Oh my god. Oh boy. Alright, this is one of the most common issues. Our meetings take a long time. How can we speed things up? Reaching good consensus decisions can take longer than voting, especially when a group is new to it. It can take time to look at and think about ideas until all objections are resolved. Some decisions might take more than one meeting to decide. Anyone else scouted for the CIA? No, I was not scouted for the CIA. Does the CIA have a combine like the NFL? Oh my god. Yeah, they all get together and they hold like simulated coups of Latin American countries in a big football stadium. It's their initiation. Alright, let's see here. However, the advantage of consensus is that decisions are usually of a higher standard and are more likely to stand the test of time. Bad decisions may not take as long to make in the first place, but they often need revisiting or never get implemented. Plead the fifth. Let's see here. Decisions that don't have the full support of the group can cause resentments to bubble up in later meetings, leading to conflict which takes time to resolve. Consensus does get quicker with practice, particularly in a long-term group. I'll bring the cookie tin. Saving time in consensus. You know what we need to do? Okay, we need to make a pop-up Faraday cage that you can, that's like big enough for 2 people. Okay. we need to invent that. So you just put the people completely inside of it. Okay. It wouldn't be that hard, right? You could totally do that. I think that's totally possible to do. Saving time in consensus. Make sure in advance that you have all the information you need at the meeting. Jesus fucking Christ, Jane. Ideally, everyone should get up to speed before the meeting. If vital details are missing, work out what you need to find out and when, by, and then move on. Not every decision needs to involve the whole group. Delegate the nitty-gritty business to working groups, such as publicity or fundraising. Sorry. Split the meeting into parallel working groups to deal with several issues at once. Each working group could come back with various proposals for the whole group to decide on. After a complex discussion, get a small group or even a pair to go away and synthesize everyone's ideas into a few possible solutions to be discussed later by the whole group. Good facilitation. Keep the group focused on the issue at hand. Stop people from going off on tangents. They have fabric for that now. Keep accurate minutes to avoid having to revisit decisions. I like this illustration. That is a huge fucking spider. I woke up earlier today because I had a dream that there was like a goddamn tarantula like crawling up in my face while I was trying to sleep. I was trying to sleep in my dream, just to be clear. I was asleep in real life. Anyway, I don't have a problem with spiders, but like a really big one crawling up on me would not be fun, okay? You know what I mean? Not when I'm trying to sleep, at least. Fashionista Faraday cage. Oh my god. It would be interesting to utilize various methods of fucking with radio signals as part of music production. So like, one thing I've noticed is that 4G signals, like their 4G antenna on your phone, is powerful enough to interfere with your audio equipment. Mine specifically likes to interfere, or like it interferes with my headphone amp and with my speakers. Okay, so if my phone is sending out, if I have my amp turned up or my speakers turned up enough, my phone is sending out any signals on 4G, you can hear like little noises in patterns that it's sending packets out in and shit. It's like so annoying. So if you're recording shit digitally, turn off the 4G on your phone, because you're gonna get interference in whatever you're recording from that. It's really annoying. Anyway, time pressure. Feeling under pressure to find a solution to a problem leads to stress and a desire to just get on with it. Be aware of the danger of reaching a consensus of the obsessed. When meetings run on for a long time because a decision must be made today, many people will tire, leave to go to bed, or deal with childcare, and only those left at the end will be with the most stamina or strongest feelings will be involved in the final decision. Be realistic about your meeting agendas. Try to make sure enough time is allowed in the agenda to tackle issues adequately. This might mean delaying less urgent decisions or allowing less important decisions less time. Check when the issue needs to be decided by. Perhaps there's time for the meeting to be extended or continued another time. Could you find a temporary solution to be revisited when there is more time? Does the whole group have to be involved, or could a small group go away to discuss and resolve the issue, leaving everyone else to get on with the rest of the agenda? Emergencies. There are ways of making consensus decisions in a very short time, but they take skill and practice and rely on the group having already spent time getting to know each other's views and needs. In an emergency, you are aiming to make the best decision in the time you've got. In some cases, appointing a temporary leader may be an expedient course of action. Obviously, you can appoint your leader and guidelines for the decisions in advance by consensus. Our meetings lack focus. Sometimes meetings lack focus. Several issues are being discussed at once, and people keep going off on tangents. Mode. This can be very frustrating when you need to get some work done and make decisions. To avoid this, draw up an agenda that outlines what will be discussed in order, or in what order, and then stick to it. Should I do this for my streams? Shut up, Chad. We have to follow the agenda. My streams are not like that, don't worry. If I was doing a stream that was like more like a lecture, well, you know what's really funny about the word lecture though, is that like originally that word really just meant like almost exactly what we're doing right now, which is reading a book and talking about it. That's what lecture used to mean a long time ago, like in ancient Rome. That's what it meant. This is the gay agenda, yeah. Fuck. Stretch. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Appoint a facilitator to help the group to stay on topic and stop people from going off on tangents. If new issues come up in a discussion, acknowledge that they need discussing too, but separately. Make a note of them and schedule a time to discuss them. I wonder if we could, I'm assuming Wikipedia actually talks about the older meaning of the word lecture. Let me check. I'm going to search lecture on Wikipedia. From a lecture from Latin, lectura, which means reading. It's literally exactly what we're doing now. Okay, I said ancient Rome, but it's actually the 14th century. The meaning, the newer meaning that we use now, came from the 16th century. The practice in the medieval university was for the instructor to read from an original source to a class of students who took notes on the lecture. The reading from original sources evolved into the reading of glosses on an original, and then more generically to lecture notes. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Like I said, you read shit and possibly talk about it. This is exactly what I do on my stream, so I guess technically I'm lecturing you. Not in that sense. This is a lecture, but like a medieval university lecture. Alright, let's see here. Speaking of our meetings lacking focus. Sorry, got off topic there. Appoint a facilitator to help the group stay on topic and stop people from going off on tangents. I need a facilitator, y'all. Stop me from going off on tangents. If new issues come up in a discussion, acknowledge that they need discussing too, but separately. Make a note of them and schedule a time to discuss them. Our group is large and we don't enjoy meetings. For groups of more than 15 to 20 people, it is advisable to split into subgroups for meaningful discussion. You can find more detail in Chapter 3, which we already read, which is about facilitating consensus in large groups. We're stuck and can't reach a decision. Do the conditions for consensus even exist in your group? Do you need to spend more time on developing shared goals? If you haven't agreed on what the aims of the group are, then spend some time doing that. If you can't agree on these, then maybe you need to consider splitting into different groups, or concentrating your work on any areas that you do agree on. Does everyone understand how consensus works? If not, go through and explain both the process and the principles behind consensus decision-making. Again, if some people aren't really committed to consensus, it might be better to make decisions in another way or to split into two groups. Do you have good facilitation? For tips on facilitation, check Chapter 2, which we already read. Is everyone able to be open about what they want and what they actually need? If not, work out ways to build trust in your group and allow people to express themselves honestly. Are people really actively participating in the process? Are they listening to each other? Is everyone trying to understand each other's standpoint and work out how to accommodate each other's needs? Are you spending enough time on your decision-making? Bad decisions can often be made very quickly, but good decisions usually require listening and consideration, which can take time. Chapter 8 has more ideas on what to do in situations where the conditions for consensus aren't being met. Okay. Can you actually make a good decision? Do you have all the information you need to make a decision? If not, how can you get it? Is the group unable to reach a decision because it has no good choices? Are you forced to choose between being shot and hung? Hanged. Hanged. Hung is a different thing. Personally, I'd rather be shot than hung, but... Not sure about hanged. Not sure. Which do you think is better? They mean hanged, I hope. God. Anyway, in which case, what options do you have for creating a situation where you can make real choices? See Chapter 8, blah 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 blah, page 165, for more on how to deal with external pressures that make good decision-making difficult. Okay. Have you had an open, honest discussion about where people are coming from? Sometimes the group has not gone deep enough in their discussion. People may be holding back from being completely open about their concerns and motives, or they might find it difficult to express them. Alternatively, it may be that someone hasn't been listened to carefully enough, and people are assuming they've understood when they haven't. Another common barrier to open, honest communication is difficult relationships between individuals that may make it harder for them to trust each other and open up, and to hear each other when they do. Encourage everyone to explain their viewpoints in more depth. Listen carefully for agreements and concerns. What's at the root of people's worries? Which are the issues that are vital to address, and which ones are side issues? Which areas does help... Careful on who gets to decide what issues are side issues. Because if you're not careful, you'll end up with people deciding that, like, making the group's meetings accessible is a side issue, when it's not. It's like a fundamental issue that's a requirement for literally anything else. But some people think that's a side concern. We don't need to worry about it. We'll talk about it later. Which areas does everyone agree on? Test for agreement periodically, as this helps to clarify disagreements. Identify the common ground you think you can see and check if others see it too. It can help to state what you think the agreement is in the negative. Is there anyone who does not agree that... question mark. See Chapter 8 again for more on encouraging open, honest communication in situations where power dynamics or conflict pose issues. And also go back to Chapter 1 for tips on active listening. Okay. Has the discussion become polarized? I don't have a polarization filter on hand, but if I did, I would put it up in front of the camera. Groups can often be paralyzed by individuals or factions holding strong conflicting positions. This can get to the stage where it looks like an either-or choice, with each option leaving... option? How do you say the word option? Am I saying it right? Option? My brain just broke for a second. Leaving one person or faction unhappy. This happens particularly easily if not enough thought and care has been put into the early stages of the discussion. For example, if you introduce the issue, shall we cancel the event? The only available options are yes and no, and people are likely to come to loggerheads between them. You have a much better choice or chance of finding a solution that works for everyone if you start by saying something like, I'm concerned we're not well enough prepared for the event. What shall we do? Let's hear. And take time to think up various options before you start to work out what your preferences are. You don't know any other option to pronounce option. You know what happened to me? I pronounced it as like option instead of option. It's not ch, it's sh, and that's my problem. I said option, which is like option, I don't know, instead of option. Anyway. Option, vivi, baguette. If the problems emerge later on, remind yourselves that consensus is about cooperating to find solutions and not competing. It's also essential to remember that holding on to our personal agendas and opinions is often an obstacle to this cooperation happening. So honest self-reflection is often needed. If the language of a discussion starts taking on tones of either or, then take a break or look for other options. Can the ideas work together in any way? Are we falling out over small details and forgetting that we have a lot in common? There are rarely just two options, so be creative and think of new ways forward. You could ask everyone to argue convincingly the point of view that they like the least. This might help people to understand the other side and make it easier to resolve conflict. Do you really need to agree on this now, or can you choose one of the options below? Break down the decision into smaller areas. Are there any points on which you agree and can move forward? How did this happen? My hair tie got, like, tied together? Like, with a hair. Okay, anyway, I fixed it. Knives are useful. The hair tie that I stim with somehow got a hair on it. I don't use it for my hair. How did that... My hair is just everywhere. Oh, God. This is what happens when you have long hair. It just goes everywhere. It's so annoying. Alright, let's see here. Break down the decision into smaller areas. Are there any points on which you agree and can move forward? Can other areas be resolved later? Put the decision on ice. Come back to it in an hour, a day, or a week. Quite often, when people have had a chance to cool off and think it through, things can look quite different. At other times, people might just be too tired to see a way forward, in which case a break, an energizing activity, or even a cup of tea might help. If the decision is postponed, it can sometimes be a good idea to facilitate conflicting parties in the meantime, to check for common ground and clarify wants and needs. Imagine what will happen in 6 months, a year, or 5 years' time if you don't agree. How important does the decision feel now? You might find that by putting it into context, finding agreement becomes less or more important, and people might be willing to shift their positions. Agree an alternative process for taking a decision that all parties can sign up to. This could be allowing the person or people most affected to make the decision, putting all the possibilities into a hat and pulling one out, or simply tossing a coin. Some groups have majority voting as a backup, often requiring an overwhelming vote such as 80 or 90% to make a decision valid. Be careful not to turn to this at the first sign of trouble. It's a definite last resort in a consensus group. Do you need an outside facilitator to help you through your sticky patch? Sometimes it can help to bring in outside help. This needs to be done when there's still enough good feeling left for people to cooperate with the process and be willing to accept a different facilitator. Quite often, an outside facilitator or mediator will be seen as neutral, which can help things along. Is it time to split the group? If the group is continually divided over the same issues between the same people, it's probably a good time to think about the reasons for the disagreement. Should you really be acting together as one group? Do all members of the group share the same goals, and is everyone committed to reaching consensus? You might need to spend some time exploring these issues. Depending on the answers, a group may ask members to leave, or may decide to split into two groups. Although this might be painful, it can be better for everyone in the long run. Ideally, you'll carry on supporting each other and working together on shared projects. too many ideas. Sometimes an issue brings up a large number of ideas. Groups naturally tend towards discussing them all at once, which can be very confusing. Using facilitation techniques and activities like listing pros and cons for each idea really helps keep discussion focused and give each idea a fair hearing. Check out Chapter 6, which we already read, and pick a process that gives space to hear each idea in turn and that allows it to be treated on its merits. Which parts of it work, which don't work so well for the group? Can you pick elements from different ideas to create one combined super proposal? Are there any ideas that can be filtered out? For example, ideas that go against the aims of the group. Can some of the proposals be delegated to working groups or subgroups for decision making? Steamroller proposals. Sometimes people already have firm ideas or proposals that they bring to the meeting. This could be from a working group, such as funding or publicity, or a local group in a network, or an individual who has already spent some time thinking about the issue. Bringing proposals to a meeting can be helpful in speeding up the discussions. However, there is a danger that the proposal will be pushed through without adequate discussion or modification. Also, people at the meeting often react negatively to a proposal because they have not had time to consider the matter for themselves and feel steamrollered, even if that was not the intention of the proposer. To avoid these problems, it's important to remind everyone that consensus is based on taking everyone's point of view into account, exploring different options, and combining the best elements into a proposal. People bringing ideas to the meeting need to be willing to let the group modify and adjust them, maybe even beyond recognition. Here are 2 ideas for dealing with pre-existing proposals. Option 1. After explaining the issue to be discussed, collect the existing ideas and put them to one side. Together, explore the issue, gather concerns, and look for any other new ideas. Add the new ideas to your list, and then have a broad-ranging discussion about all the ideas, the pre-existing ones and those that have come out in the meeting. Synthesize a proposal for consensus out of these. I like that one. Option 2. After explaining the issue to be discussed, outline the existing proposal. Together explore the issue itself and the pros and cons of the proposal. Make a list of people's concerns and other ideas. Modify the proposal to address these until everyone is happy with it. This only really works if there's just one existing proposal. If there are 2 or more, using this process would set up an either-or dynamic that might make it really hard to reach agreement. Yeah, I like option 1 a lot. How can we deal with disruptive behavior? Do your meetings suffer from disruptive behavior such as chatting, people arriving late and leaving early, incessant joking, or going off on tangents? Is there an issue with attention-seeking behavior that regularly throws your meetings off track? This could be a sign that people's needs in the meetings are not being fulfilled. All of us have some basic things we need in order to work in groups. We need to feel that we're being treated fairly. We need our expertise and experience to be valued and our ideas and opinions to be heard. We need to feel part of the group, and we need to feel like we're getting something useful done. When these needs aren't fulfilled, people can easily feel alienated from the meeting. This often expresses itself in disruptive behavior. For example, they feel they have no say in the choice of agenda, and consequently can't see the relevance of what's being discussed. Or maybe they feel that the meeting is a waste of time because their opinion won't be considered when it comes to making the final decision. Of course, disruptive behavior can sometimes be the result of needs that are beyond our control, due perhaps to wider personal or societal issues. In this case, members of the group may do what they can to offer each other support over the longer term. In the short term editing, the best option may be to use facilitation tools which keep the meeting on track and limit the impacts of attention-seeking behavior. Alternatively, the meeting might simply have gone on for too long and people are tired and hungry and just need a break. It's also worth checking in with individuals as people's ability to sit still and focus varies. What feels okay to you might have gone on way too long for other people. Build in 15-minute breaks every 90 minutes or so and provide food and hot drinks for people to recharge. Our group is dominated by a few individuals. A common form of disruptive behavior in groups is when a handful of strong personalities do most of the group's talking and organizing. Dominating behavior can be very destructive for a group. It needs to be addressed if we are to achieve real consensus in meetings. Chapter 8 has more on addressing power dynamics, okay? Dominant behavior can be discouraged, and other people's participation can be increased with the use of a few simple facilitation techniques. Reaffirm the group's commitment to openness and consensus at the start of meetings. Gently remind dominant people that others also have valued opinions and that the meeting time is limited. Thanks for that contribution. It would be really nice to hear from anyone that's not yet had the chance to speak. Or, thanks, Tom, but do you mind if we let someone else speak now? Time's short and you've already spoken a few times. Use hand signals so that you can see who wants to speak and prioritize those who haven't contributed so often. Set up a group agreement that includes agreements not to interrupt and to allow everyone a chance to speak. Information is power. Share information. Mouth work. Share information at the beginning of the meeting through presentations and question and answer settings. God, I can't read. This means everyone is up to speed before the discussion starts. Use go around small groups and paired listening to allow everyone to have a chance to speak. Invite in an experienced facilitator who will help highlight and deal with unhealthy group dynamics. Okay, what to do when someone blocks? Why do blocks occur? In an ideal consensus process, a block wouldn't occur since any major concerns about a proposal would have been noticed and dealt with before moving on to the decision stage. The fact that someone feels the need to block a proposal I've been the whole time I've been reading this, there have been so many things where I'm just like, this would not work for me. Nope. There's a lot of things that are like, well, that's a really inaccessible way of doing things, or that sounds really ableist or whatever. But supposedly in chapter 8 they're going to discuss all that. Supposedly. Maybe that'll be on the next stream. We haven't gotten there yet. We're in chapter 7 now. Why do blocks occur? In an ideal consensus process, a block wouldn't occur since any major concerns about a proposal would have been noticed and dealt with before moving on to the decision stage. The fact that someone feels the need to block a proposal means that something has gone wrong earlier in the process. But since this will sometimes happen, the option to block needs to be available. Fundamentally, blocks occur when the conditions for consensus aren't being met. The kind of things that commonly go wrong and end up with the block are: the proposal goes against the agreed aims and principles of the group, the proposal impacts in a profoundly negative way on an individual's fundamental needs, an individual hasn't been able to express their concerns in a way that the group can understand, or maybe not at all. Going ahead with the proposal would lead to severe consequences for individual members or the group. For example, members leaving the group either immediately or in the longer run, or serious and legal and financial consequences. The group is not ready to make a decision. More in-depth discussion is needed to address everyone's concerns and to involve everyone in the decision-making. There are many reasons for this, including members of the group may be absent, not everyone had a chance to feed in their views, the proposal is being rushed through, people need time to think about it, vital information is missing. What to do in case of block. Once someone has blocked, it is important for the whole group to understand the reasons behind it. Find out whether an amendment to the original problem might be satisfactory to everyone. Otherwise, go back to discussing other potential solutions to the issue. It is also worth checking whether the block is actually a stand-aside, as some people don't understand the difference. But remember to be careful and to avoid putting pressure on the person blocking when checking this. At the testing for consensus stage of the meeting, it can help to include a clear explanation of how your group uses the block and other ways of disagreeing and what it means. Explaining the first avoids misunderstandings, and the people who disagree, and the person who disagrees is less likely to take it personally than they would if their block was challenged. Problems with blocks. There are three main issues connected to blocks, which we deal with below. People are afraid to block. Making use of the block can be hard, especially for people who don't feel confident in their group. It can involve standing up to perceived or actual group pressure and impatience. Many people are tempted to keep quiet, and important discussions are sometimes avoided. Create an atmosphere in your meetings where people will feel able to block if necessary. This places particular responsibility on the facilitator in the decision stage to check what levels of agreement exist and to help people feel comfortable to speak up. Misuse of the block. Because blocks are such powerful tools, it's important to be aware of how they can be misused. Pardon me. Some of the common misuses are conscious or subconscious use of the block to maintain or gain power or attention, and different cultural or political backgrounds leading to misunderstanding of the concept of the block, and the person blocking doesn't understand or is not committed to consensus. For example, blocking when the proposal is still being discussed, i.e. not at the decision stage yet. This could either be because someone doesn't understand the process or because they have already made up their mind and are not prepared to listen and understand other people's positions and to modify their own. If you feel a block is being misused, explain the consensus process and how the block works in your group. Do this at the beginning of meetings, and possibly again if the block occurs. This is especially useful when there are people new to the group or the group is very large. Discuss the difference between a block and a stand-aside. It may become clear that an objection is a stand-aside rather than a block. Be careful that the person blocking doesn't feel under pressure to stand aside. If someone regularly blocks, it may indicate that the group isn't meeting their needs. Perhaps they don't feel listened to in discussions. Try to uncover such hidden dynamics and deal with them. If someone finds themselves continually at odds with the rest of the group, it may be time to consider whether this is the right group for that person. Does the person agree with everyone else about the aims and principles of the group? Would it be better for the person to leave? People refuse to accept the validity of a block. In some cases, the rest of the group may be unwilling to respect a block. This is a difficult situation. A group should respect a block unless it stems from a fundamental disagreement with the aims of the group, goes against what you have decided collectively about acceptable use of the block, or is driven by abuse of power. It can be hard to work out if this is the case. It's hard to judge for someone else whether they really need something or if they just want it, for example. Or one person might think that something goes against the core aims of the group, but others might not see it as so clear-cut. Some people argue that you should only be allowed to block a proposal if it is against the well-being of the group. However, many groups feel it is valid to block for personal reasons. They argue that we need to respect each other even if we disagree profoundly. We can't just draw an arbitrary line to stop respecting people when it's about their personal view rather than a group's interest. For these groups, commitment to consensus means carrying on looking for solutions for everyone even when it becomes difficult. If a group goes against a block, this can completely undermine the members' commitment to the group and is against the principles of consensus. The fact that someone feels the need to block suggests that their concerns have not been taken into account. If that block is then not accepted by the group, then this might be an even more serious sign that they are not being respected. This means that the conditions for consensus are not being met, and this needs to be addressed. In the short term, there are a few things you can do if a block is not being accepted. In most cases, simply having a break for 10 minutes, or in serious or non-urgent situations, a few days, allows people to cool down and have a think. Quite often, the group will feel differently about or after a bit of time out. Since this is the easiest and often the quickest way of dealing with the situation, it's worth trying a break before going back to restart the discussion. Go back to, next suggestion. Go back to the stage about exploring people's needs and concerns. Use your active listening and questioning skills to help the person using the block to articulate themselves clearly and to help the group to understand their concerns. Ultimately, if a group refuses to respect someone's block, then this may lead to that person leaving. It is important to remind everyone of that consequence. Next problem. Our group is biased towards the status quo. That would be a big problem, yeah. In any group, there can be a resistance to change, with some people using the decision-making process to consistently stifle new initiatives and to maintain the status quo. Many people are afraid of change and can feel challenged by new people wanting to introduce new ways of doing things. It can be hard to overcome this, but consensus should not be used to prevent innovation. Rather, it can help to accommodate both the wish for change and the wish to protect that which is well proved and working. If new ideas aren't being accepted, then ultimately people will get frustrated and leave the group. At the same time, it is well worth taking into account people's experience. There may be very good reasons why they are opposing something. Some ideas to try. A subgroup could go ahead with a project without everyone being involved, a trial period for a new way of doing things with a built-in review process, or identify what it is that people are afraid of and find solutions. And finally, the above suggestions for dealing with common problems that can crop up mainly offer only a quick or sticking plaster solution. Can you just use normal words? Can you just say what you mean? Gosh, it's worth considering the deeper challenges that we bring to our meetings, some of which we look at in Chapter 8, which I assume is the next page. Chapter 8, yes it is. Bridging the gap between theory and practice. Oh boy. So this chapter, I believe, is really long. From what I think this is one of the longer chapters. And it does include all of the shit about accessibility, apparently. That's one part of it. Let's see, what are we at? 128. Let me go back to the table of contents so we can take a look at what Chapter 8 includes. Yeah, Chapter 8 is going to be... It's almost 50 pages long. Or sorry... What am I doing? No, it's 44 pages. The gap between theory and practice. Half the book. God. It's 44 pages long. Anyway. Anyway, that's gonna be the next stream, I guess, then. Where are we? Okay. 44 pages for that one chapter, yeah. All right.